In the heart of a sprawling mansion on the outskirts of the city lived Ethan Cole, a successful millionaire whose life was built on ambition, precision, and control. From the outside, he had it all: a thriving tech empire, a mansion with glass walls that kissed the skyline, and the kind of respect only power could buy. But behind the walls of luxury was a silence that echoed louder than any applause. Ethan had lost his wife, Clara, in a car accident 2 years ago, an accident that left his only daughter, Lila, blind. She was just 7 then. The tragedy didn't just rob her of her sight, it stole Ethan's heart, too. Since that night, he buried himself in work, hiding behind boardrooms and numbers, unable to face the pain of his little girl's world turning dark. When Lila's blindness began affecting her emotionally, Ethan hired nanny after nanny, but none lasted long. They couldn't handle her silence, her outbursts, or the deep sadness that seemed to swallow her whole. Until one day, Sophia walked in. She wasn't extraordinary by appearance: simple clothes, a warm smile, and eyes that carried stories of their own. But there was something about her calm, her kindness, that made Lila hold her hand instantly. It was the first time in months Ethan saw his daughter smile. At first, Ethan barely noticed Sophia. To him, she was just another employee. He was polite, professional, distant. But slowly, things began to change. Every morning, he would hear laughter, real, joyful laughter, echoing from Lila's room. The sound startled him the first few times. He'd forgotten what happiness sounded like. When he peeked once, he saw Sophia sitting on the carpet, teaching Lila to see through touch, describing colors through textures, sounds, and scents. "Blue feels like the wind on your face," she whispered to the girl. "And yellow smells like fresh lemons on a summer day." Lila giggled and reached out to feel the world through Sophia's words. But Ethan was a man of logic, not emotion. "You're coddling her too much," he told Sophia one afternoon when she refused to let Lila walk alone. "She needs to learn independence." Sophia's gaze met his calmly. "She's blind, Mr. Cole. But that doesn't mean she can't see. She just needs someone to show her how." Her words stayed with him longer than he cared to admit. Weeks passed, and the walls of the mansion slowly began to breathe again. Lila grew braver, more confident. Ethan would find her exploring the garden, tracing her fingers over the roses, her face lit with wonder. Sophia taught her to identify birds by their songs, to read Braille, and even to bake cookies by touch. She wasn't just a nanny, she was hope wrapped in human form. But not everyone appreciated Sophia's presence. Victoria, Ethan's sister and Lila's godmother, despised her. A polished woman of power and pride, she believed emotions were weaknesses. "That nanny is overstepping," Victoria snapped one morning as she found Sophia hugging Lila after a nightmare. "You're spoiling her, Sophia. You're making her soft." Sophia's voice trembled but didn't break. "Lila doesn't need to be tough, ma'am. She needs to feel loved." Victoria glared, "You're just the help. Don't forget that." Unfortunately, Ethan overheard none of this. His work kept him chained to meetings, contracts, and endless travel. But everything changed one rainy afternoon, the day that would forever redefine what family, love, and courage meant to him. It was supposed to be just another business trip. Ethan had left early in the morning for a board meeting downtown. The storm hit without warning, thunder growled, and rain slammed against the mansion's tall windows. Power flickered, and darkness swallowed the rooms. Lila screamed from her playroom, clutching her teddy bear. Sophia rushed in, kneeling beside her. "It's okay, sweetheart. I'm here," she whispered, holding the trembling child close. The thunder roared again, shaking the house. Lila sobbed, burying her face into Sophia's shoulder. "Make it stop. Please." Sophia pulled her tighter, rocking her gently. "Shoo, listen to my heartbeat. You're safe. You're not alone." She began humming softly, the same lullaby Clara once sang, one Lila hadn't heard since her mother's passing. Slowly, the little girl's breathing steadied. Sophia held her through the storm, her uniform soaked, her hair clinging to her face, never once thinking of herself. But outside, unknown to her, Ethan's car was pulling back into the driveway. The meeting had been cancelled, and he decided to surprise his daughter with her favorite cupcakes. As he stepped into the mansion, he heard the faint hum of a lullaby and followed it upstairs, the melody pulling him closer like a forgotten memory. When he reached the doorway, he froze. There, in the dim candlelight, Sophia sat on the floor, Lila wrapped safely in her arms, both of them trembling under a blanket. Sophia's eyes were closed, her hand resting protectively on the child's head, whispering words of comfort through tears. "You're so brave, Lila. Your mommy would be proud of you. And no matter what, I'll always protect you." Something inside Ethan shattered. For the first time, he saw what he'd been blind to all along, not Lila's blindness, but his own. He had been so focused on what he lost that he'd forgotten what he still had: love, warmth, life. His daughter hadn't needed his money or doctors, she needed this, someone who saw her heart, not her handicap. His chest tightened as emotion choked him. He stepped forward slowly. "Sophia," he whispered. She looked up, startled, quickly wiping her tears. "Mr. Cole, I..." But before she could finish, Ethan knelt beside them. He gently touched Lila's cheek. "Are you okay, sweetheart?" The little girl nodded, still clinging to Sophia. "Daddy," Sophia made the thunder go away. Ethan looked at the nanny, this woman he barely knew, who had done more for his child than he ever could. "Thank you," he said softly. She shook her head. "I was just doing my job." "No," Ethan replied firmly. "You were doing what I should have done." The next day, Victoria stormed into the mansion, furious that Ethan hadn't fired Sophia for crossing professional lines. She found him in the living room with Sophia and Lila. "Ethan, she's manipulating you. You can't let a nanny take over your daughter's life." Ethan stood up, his voice calm but resolute. "You're right, Victoria. She's not just a nanny. She's family." Victoria blinked, stunned. "What?" He turned to Sophia. "You've given my daughter her smile back, and for that, I owe you more than I can say. You've shown me what real strength looks like, not power, not wealth, but love." He paused, his eyes glistening. "I don't want you to be her nanny anymore. I want you to be part of our family, if you'll stay." Sophia's hands trembled as tears filled her eyes. "Mr. Cole, I don't know what to say." "Say yes," Lila whispered, tugging Sophia's sleeve. "Please don't ever leave me." And she didn't. Months later, the mansion was no longer silent. It echoed with laughter, piano melodies, and the sound of Lila's tiny feet dancing through hallways. Ethan often joined Sophia and Lila in the garden, reading stories or baking cookies. The once cold walls now glowed with warmth. Every sunset reminded Ethan of that stormy night, the night he learned that love isn't about seeing with your eyes, but feeling with your heart. And whenever Lila asked about colors, Sophia would smile and describe them in ways words could never capture. "Pink," she'd say, "feels like your daddy's hug." Ethan would just smile, realizing that sometimes, life gives second chances in the most unexpected ways. No amount of wealth can replace the power of compassion. Sometimes, the people who come into our lives quietly end up being the ones who heal us completely. Sparkles, if this story touched your heart, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more emotional stories that remind us of what truly matters: love, kindness, and family. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss the next one.